Hey y'all, welcome back to Math Rescue. I'm Andre, your certified math coach. In this video, we're going to use factoring by grouping to solve a cubic polynomial algebraically. Cubics can look intimidating at first, but with a few tricks, the whole thing opens up really nicely. I'll walk you through the pattern so you don't flinch when you see these. Let's talk about it. Alright, so we're going to solve this using factoring by grouping. Factoring by grouping doesn't always work with cubics, but when it does, it ends up making for a really nice problem. So factoring by grouping, the name gives away what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be focusing on creating groups and then pooling the GCF, the greatest common factor, out of those groups. For my purple group, I notice that they have a 5x squared in common. So I can pull that out. And in a second, I'll look at my green group. So for the purple, when I factor out that 5x squared, it's almost like dividing. We are left with a x when we factor out of this term, and when we factor out of this term, we're just left with a 3. All right, that's pretty much the premise of it. From here, we just kind of repeat that process. So we look at the green and we ask the same question. What is the GCF of the green? So the GCF of the green is going to be 20. Now, if I factor a 20 out from here, that just leaves behind the x. And if I factor out a 20 out from here, that leaves behind a 3. Because I've already removed the negative, we're going to go ahead and record a sum inside of the parentheses there. All right. Now, I have two terms, two big old jumbo terms. These are huge terms here. And if you look at what they have in common, they have the parentheses in common. So because they have that parentheses in common, what I'm allowed to do is I'm able to factor that out from both of them. So I go ahead and do that, factor out the x plus 3. Now, if I factor out the x plus 3 from the purple, that'll just leave behind the 5x squared. And if I factor out the x plus 3 from the green, that's just going to leave behind the minus 20. Once I get to this point, because I have two things multiplying to make 0, I can take advantage of the zero product property. I like to say ZPP for short. And ZPP, what it allows me to do is it allows me to actually set both of these factors individually equal to 0. So I can say x plus 3 equals 0, and I could solve that. And I could say 5x squared minus 20 equals 0, and I could solve that. So x plus 3 is 0. 5x squared minus 20 is 0. Let me go ahead and solve the linear equation first. So we'll take away 3 from both sides. We end up with x equals negative 3. There's one of my solutions. On the other side, we're going to add 20. So we get 5x squared equals 20. I'll divide both sides by 5. I'm just isolating the square here. That way I can set up to use the square root property. I get x squared equals 4. And then from here I can do the square root property. So the square root property allows me to apply the square root to both sides. Whenever you use the square root property, you have to also throw up that plus or minus. And so we end up getting our other two solutions here. X equals plus or minus 2. All right. I'm Andre with Math Rescue. Good luck in your math class. I'll see you in the next one.